Welcome to this lesson for advanced mandolin players on a tune called the Milk Cow Blues, and more specifically the 12-bar blues. In the next 10 minutes or so, we're going to use the Milk Cow Blues as an example to look at some difficult mandolin techniques, and that will hopefully eventually sound a bit like this. At this point, I should mention everything we talk about in this video is included on a free PDF, which you can just download if you click the link below. And I do suggest you do that because then you don't have to learn all this by ear. You can have it in front of you as we play it. So this is for advanced players. So I'm just going to dive in and we're going to have a play through the core melody first. And now this is a loose transcription of the fiddle solo from Bob Wills' recording. There's a few versions of the Milk Cow Blues. There's a few different songs called the Milk Cow Blues, and I know this through the Bob Wills, so that's what this is. It's a very strict 12-bar blues structure. So, and if you haven't looked at my other lesson on blues this month, I've linked that below. I do suggest you swing by that first, so you know the theories of the 12-bar blues. But if I do this nice and slow after 3, and I'll do it in little 4-bar phrases. So the first 4 bars are 1, 2, 3. So that's the first 4 bars. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3. And then the next 4 bars has some double stops that I do as all down. We'll do more on pick trucks in a minute, but the next 4 bars sound like this. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. 2, 3. So just a really nice double stop there. And then the last 4 bars with the pickup. So I'm going to bring my other half, Jay, in. She's going to play the chords on the guitar, and we're going to play that solo once through, relatively so. We're going to do it about that speed. 1, 2, 3. For the rest of this lesson, I'm going to take that melody and we're going to apply some mandolin-specific techniques to it to make it sort of suit the instrument a little more. The first thing I want to talk about is pick direction. And now any regular followers of Mando Mike will know that I'm always talking about down on the beat and up off the beat. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Right, in this tune, you've got a free pass. Because this is one of those occasions where it actually might sound nicer if you do all the quavers or eighth notes as down. So all is down apart from that one upstroke in the middle of the triplet. There's a very, very strong swing, as you can hear. So it's not... It's very dotted. And sometimes the downs and the ups can make it sound too much like a fiddle tune or too much like a very straight classical piece. So with all downs, I think it gives you a bit of a license to be a bit looser with the timing. You can push and pull a little bit. And yeah, so I like that feel. If you want to do alternate pick strokes, that's fine, but I'm going to be doing a lot of downstrokes when we come to play the final tune. On the mandolin, we have to do a few techniques to hide the fact we can't hold notes for very long. We haven't got a bow that we can keep on touching the string, and we're not a trumpet player, so we just keep our breath going. Those notes go quiet very quickly. So we do a few techniques. One of them is tremolo, which we'll come to later. The other is basically filling the gap with lots of notes. And so in this tune, because it's quite slow, we can fill that gap with triplets. So instead of instead of bar 7 and 8, where there's just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, there's a lot of gap there, and especially when you're playing with other musicians, that note will get lost. So instead of just holding a note for 3, you could fill it with some triplets. Now, when it comes to the final example, I haven't done a lot of that because I've gone for the tremolo option, but that is something that you should have in your armoury as an advanced player. So lots of triplets to fill in those gaps, and they also sound really nice in blues. Tremolo is the other thing we can do to fill those gaps. And now I'm not going to go into the discussion of tremolo. I'm assuming you can already do that. So in blues, the tremolo sounds nicest if you make them as double stops. So instead of something like that, you could catch the A as well. So from the same bar, 7 and 8, instead of, you could go. And then the other things, so when I'm constructing my double stops in blues, I've got the 1, 3 and the 5 of the chord and the 7 to play with. So you could go C sharp and A to C sharp and G over an A7 chord. So that bar 7 and 8 instead of now becomes. So I'm filling that gap with some double stop tremolos that move as well. That's an interesting move, the double stops halfway through. That always creates an interesting effect. And you can be a little loose with how precise you're being as well. If you want to slide between them, that kind of bit of that grit that's required to play the blues. The final technique we can do is adding some drones. Now this is in the key of A, which straight away should set your alarm bells ringing to say we've got A and E strings here that we could use as drones. So our opening phrase we've got A and E strings that could be played as well, depending on where the melody is. So it now becomes. And the extent you do that is up to you, but I've just gone for all of it. Because I really like the sound of that. So, with all those techniques in mind, all downstrokes, triplets, tremolo, drones, we now come to our updated version of the Milk Cow Blues for advanced mandolin players. And I'm going to bring Jay back in. I'm not going to go through in fine detail, just to say I've added all the techniques and we'll have a play through it. And hopefully you can play along. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. One final challenge for you advanced mandolin players is to do your own version of that solo. There are plenty of like blues backing tracks available on YouTube, so I just suggest you search for 12 bar blues in A, and there'll be some really good backing tracks, and you can try out these solos. You could do a variation of my solo. You could just change a few notes or change some of the triplets into tremolos, something like that. Or you could completely start from afresh using some of the theory from my other lesson, using the minor pentatonic scale, as well as the technique. So there's lots for you to be working on. The best thing you can do is grab a pen and paper and maybe write out your own solo, or just dive in and try. That's how I learned to improvise, and it's the best way that I think you should learn to improvise as well. So I hope you enjoy that. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. Please do hit subscribe while you're here, and we'll see you next month.